Now on News 4.
This is a year that's exceptional in every way you can think of.
A critical moment in history.
I don't really feel hopeful. I'm actually afraid.
As a nation divided, in the throes of a public health crisis, waits for the final count to finish a bitter and bruising presidential campaign.
I got 4 little girls going to be growing up in this country.
Tonight, the fate of the nation comes down to the question, how does it end?
It's time to make a difference.
Live team coverage of Decision 2020 starts right now.
Thank you so much for joining us on this historic election night. I'm Natalie Pasquarella.
And I'm David Ushry. We've been fully engaged. We want to get right to what matters to you most. Results in key races across the tri-state and, of course, our nation's capital. The News 4 team is spread out across 300 miles, bringing you up-to-the-minute numbers and analysis. Let's begin with the race for president, a snapshot as we come on with you at 11 o'clock. Donald Trump leading Joe Biden, 55% of the vote recorded. But looking at the Electoral College, still a long way to go. Here are the numbers as we switch to that panel right there. You can see Joe Biden leading by 4. Again, still a long way to get to 270. That's the number that clinches a victory.
And we have reporters positioned with both campaigns tonight. We're going to start tonight with Melissa Russo, live in Washington with President Trump. Melissa.
Natalie, the word from Team Trump tonight is that they are bracing for a long, late night. The president is watching the returns inside the White House. He has a few hundred guests assembled there in the East Room, but we really haven't heard from him since he visited volunteers in Virginia earlier today. No speeches and no tweets from him within the past couple of hours. So far, the Trump campaign says they like what they're seeing out of the state of Florida. Trump's White House spokeswoman, Kayleigh McEnany, tweeted earlier tonight that it's time to call Florida already. The Trump team is also expressing optimism about their performance in Ohio and Wisconsin, but now they're a bit more cautious about the state of Pennsylvania, which we've known for a while will take longer to count because of their mail-in ballot process, which we know the president has been slamming. But tonight, the Pennsylvania governor pushed back at any potential Trumpian efforts to interfere with their vote count. And Kellyanne Conway implied we're not about to see the president jump the gun and declare premature victory, as some Democrats feared he might.
You can only vote against him one time, and we're counting on the people who turned out to the rallies and even those who didn't want to put signs in the yard, stickers on the bumper, to turn out today. But we're patient people. We'll see this through the night or through the week if we need to.
Every eligible vote will be counted as it must be. And make no mistake, we're going to stand up, as we always have, to anybody who wants to silence the voices of Pennsylvanians who have voted.
At least right now, the president and his aides appear to be taking a more cautious approach than what we've been hearing from them over the past few days during the home stretch of this election. We're live in Washington, D.C. Melissa Russo, News 4 New York.
All right, Melissa, thank you. Vice President Biden also keeping a close eye on the polls from his home in Wilmington, Delaware. That's where we find News 4's Andrew SIFF live, continuing our team coverage. Andrew.
Right, Natalie, and we're hearing from members of Team Biden that they certainly didn't get results so far out of Florida that they might have hoped, but their focus is on key Midwestern states like Wisconsin, like Michigan, and of course, Joe Biden's home state where he grew up, Pennsylvania. Now, the scene here in Wilmington behind me, you see all those cars in the parking lot here at the Chase Center. This is for a drive-in rally. We may see as many as 200 vehicles in this parking lot. They anticipate hearing from Joe Biden at some point in the next 2 hours on the stage here at the Chase Center. Now, earlier in the day, a very personal and emotional day for Joe Biden. He visited the grave of his son, Beau, in Delaware, then went back to Scranton, not only to the town where he grew up, but to the house where he grew up, writing at one point on the wall, "From this house to the White House by the grace of God." He also went to Philadelphia for one of his last rallies, told supporters there he absolutely needs Pennsylvania to win, also preached patience and said he wouldn't do anything differently if he had this campaign to do all over again.
No, there's not. I mean, as you guys know, have had to cover me for a long time. I haven't changed what I've been saying since the day I announced. And the day I announced, everybody thought that I was way off base. And by the way, I don't mean that as I'm not being critical of anybody else. I'm just saying that I believe very, very strongly, I really mean it, that we have to restore decency and honor in our system, or it's going to fall apart.
And again, the clearest indication that Joe Biden will speak here tonight is the folks in these cars got an invitation to arrive. They're expecting a speech in the next couple of hours. Live in Wilmington, Andrew SIFF, News 4 New York.
All right, we will be waiting. Andrew, thank you. Tonight, tensions are high as those results are continuing to trickle in. So far, though, luckily, we've only seen peaceful demonstrations.
Like this one taking place in Washington, D.C. News 4 anchor Adam KUPERSTEIN reporting just south of the White House. Adam?
Yeah, that protest you mentioned about a block north of the White House, I'm here to the south, but I can tell you all across downtown, police are out in full force. You have that fence surrounding the White House. You have businesses boarded up. Security is very high right now. Let's take a look at that protest, which did escalate a little bit within the last hour. A little dust up between protesters and police here. This was about a block from the White House. D.C. police using those bikes like you've seen this in New York City, where they try to contain a small group. It appears one protester was arrested, and then police moved back and they rode away on those bikes. Earlier in the night, the mood at Black Lives Matter Plaza was mostly festive, almost like a carnival. There was music and dancing as the group watched the returns come in on a big screen TV. This group called Shutdown DC that runs it also unleashed anti-Trump banners, including one that from above you could see said, "Remove Trump." Now that group Shutdown DC also just asked supporters of Black Lives Matter to come out. They say they're still hyped up, so we'll continue to watch that as the results continue to trickle in. Live from outside the White House, Adam KUPERSTEIN, News 4 New York.